Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Nullum. This is our third video, but this is more of a mathematical component of the video I recently made. Today, we're going to focus on adding and subtracting net forces, okay? And pretty much is just what that says, adding and subtracting. And we need to understand the two conditions. The first condition is if the total or the net total of those forces is unbalanced, meaning that if it's not zero, that means that there's movement, okay? And whether that's going to be in the X or Y direction, okay? And if it's balanced, that means that the forces on both sides are equal. So that means that there's no movement. So the net forces are equal to zero, okay? So understanding those two conditions, and we know that Y is up and down and X is left and right, we're going to go ahead and do a couple of examples of adding and subtracting net forces, all right? First example, all right? So each part you want to start off with first understanding what are all the forces in the X and Y direction, okay? So we want to first establish that if there are forces in the X and Y direction, what are they? And then what are the summation of those forces, okay? So Y is always up and down, and X is always left and right. So it says the force net means total, okay? So the total force in the X direction, all right, we have a 20 newtons going in the right direction, and the right, that's positive. So I have a positive 20 newtons. All right, and then I have minus 1 Newton going in the left direction. So that's minus 1 Newton. All right, net forces in the Y direction. All right, so I don't have any net forces in the Y direction because these two forces are going left and right. There are no forces going up and down. So it's just going to be 0 newtons. All right, if I finish this summation, this is 19 newtons in the X direction and 0 newtons in the Y direction. So the total force in both X and Y is going to be 19 newtons plus 0 newtons. And this is in the X direction. So that's 19 newtons in the X direction. So that means that that is a positive. So that's going to move to the right. Okay, so again, the magnitude is 19 newtons and the direction is to the right. All right, so similar example. All right, we have two forces going in the X direction, so there's no forces going in the Y direction. There's 10 newtons going in the right, minus 15 newtons going to the left. Finish that summation, that's going to be negative 5 newtons in the X direction and 0 newtons in the Y direction. So I have negative Newton 5 negative newtons minus 0 newtons, which is negative 5 newtons. So my magnitude is negative 5 newtons, and my direction is going to be to the left. All right, this one is just an example of how to do this. So it's already kind of made for you. So you can see that the net forces in the left direction. So I have negative 400 newtons plus a positive 200 newtons. There are no forces in the Y direction. This equals negative 200 newtons. 0 newtons in the Y. Negative 200 newtons minus 0 newtons. Negative 200 newtons. This is in the X direction. So the total force is, or the magnitude is negative 200 newtons, and direction is to the left. All right. I have a positive 25 newtons going to the right and another positive 20 newtons going to the right. I have no forces going in the y direction. So it's going to be 45 newtons in the x direction, 45 newtons plus 0 newtons, 45 newtons. So that's going to be positive. So the direction is going to be to the right. All right, so let's say I have 4 forces on this plane. All right, the force lift. So the force lift is 5,000 newtons. The force gravity is negative 5,000 newtons. The thrust is 30,000 newtons. The thrust is 30,000 newtons. And the drag is 10,000 newtons. All right, find the net forces. So I have total net forces in x direction. So I have left and right. So this is a left 10,000 newtons. So that is a negative drag plus a positive thrust. Equal to negative 10,000 newtons plus 30,000 newtons. It's going to be a positive 20,000 newtons in the x direction. The y direction, I have a positive force lift minus gravity, 5,000 minus 5,000. That's a net force of 0 in the y direction. So my net total is going to be the net force in the x plus the net force in the y, 20,000 newtons minus 0, that's 20,000. And that is positive, so the direction is going to be to the right. All right, so this is a video on adding and subtracting Newton's law, This is a video on adding and subtracting net forces. So let's now establish what was balanced and what was unbalanced. So I'm just going to just use the abbreviation. UB for unbalanced, B for balance. So we can see here that this is a unbalance in the X and a balance in the Y, because you have movement in the X but no movement in the Y. Same thing here, unbalance in the X and balance in the Y, because you have movement in the X and no movement in the Y. Balance in the unbalance in the X and balance in the Y. Same reasons for the other two. Unbalance in the X and balance in the Y. In this situation, same here. This is unbalance in the X and balance in the Y. Okay, so We're going to dig a little bit deeper and we're going to start changing these directions. All right. But this is just a basic understanding of adding and subtracting net forces. Please comment if you have any questions. Thank you.